5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, for joining us today. Before I get to my first question, I just wanted to address two things. One is the very thoughtful comments that Mr. Blakey had mentioned. Just around you visiting this committee, I just want to mention and put it on record that you have visited us at least 4 times during this Parliament, and you've always shown up for every single BIA. And I think it's important for Canadians to be reminded of that. The other thing I wanted to address is just a comment that Mr. Hallam had mentioned about out-of-control spending. I think sometimes because so much happens in our lives, we have short memories, but we have come out of an unprecedented global pandemic. And then as we came out of it, we had a extraordinarily changed geopolitical situation. And I will tell you, and I'll remind Canadians, our government absolutely spent a large amount of money. We did that because we had to help Canadians get through COVID. The spending has saved lives. The spending has saved livelihoods. The spending has saved businesses. And it's provided a foundation from which our economy has pivoted. And so we have pivoted, and this is why at this moment we do have the best debt to GDP ratio of the G7 countries. We've had more than a full recovery of jobs, and we continue to maintain our AAA credit rating, among other things. So I wanted to just put that on the record. So to my first question, in my riding of Davenport, as is the case of many ridings, there's a number of advocate groups. So I have a huge contingent, and I'm one of them, by the way, of climate activists and people who really want our government to move as quickly as possible to achieving our Paris Accord targets and to meeting our net zero by 2050 targets. I also have an equally important active group that are very passionate about making sure we continue to have good jobs and we continue to have a strong economy, because it's not only that they care about themselves, but they care about their kids and that their kids have a strong future. So my question to you is, can you explain to the residents of Davenport why it's important for us to invest in the clean economy with such substantial investment via tax credits that were announced in Federal Budget 2023, what it means for the Canadian economy moving forward, and how does this help us achieve our net zero by 2050 target?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for the important point about the investments our government has made in Canadians and about the strength of Canada's fiscal position. It's really important for us all to be clear about that so that Canadians understand the reality and are not misled by fiscal scaremongering. On the clean economy and climate action, I'm very happy to speak through you directly to the people of Davenport. As you know, our ridings are neighbors, so your constituents are my neighbors. And I also thank you for your energetic advocacy of our government's climate agenda. And I agree with you. We should all be climate activists. I think, when people look back on the budget that we are all ultimately going to pass, I think what history is going to show is that this was the budget that really kicked Canada's green industrial transformation into high gear with a worker-led agenda. I really, really believe that. And, through some of the unpleasantness, I just remind myself that we're doing that important work together. With this budget, our government has now put forward a $120 billion green industrial policy. This is going to accelerate our work on reducing Canada's emissions, and crucially, it's going to create a lot of great jobs. And I was really happy. 3 things made me really happy after the budget. One was S&P reiterating our AAA rating with a stable outlook, an important proof point. The second was TD coming up with a judgment about our budget and saying Canada has done it. We are now totally competitive as an investment destination when it comes to the clean economy. And the third was Rystad Energy, a highly respected energy analytical firm, coming to exactly the same judgment of what Canada has done.
Thank you, and thank you, MP Zerowitz. It is the time. It goes quickly, and we